today I want to show you how to read a diagram, and hopefully I'll give you some good exercises so that you can teach yourself how to read them in a way that is actually viable for you to actually not knit, crochet from. And basically for me, when I have a pattern which is written and there's all of this text and all of these lines, I get a little bit worried because looking at the crochet piece and at the diagram, I think those are very analog. They're sort of the same. You can look at the crocheted stitches and you can look at the diagram and they're sort of the same thing. When you look at the written instructions, they're sort of in a completely different area than that. And I know that a lot of people that have it the other way around, they sort of don't like the diagrams because they find it to be sort of a different language, and they like the written instructions because that's how they learn other things. So they like to read and then to do. And then I think in their mind, they're sort of telling themselves, sort of reading, so I do this, then I do that, then I do this, and then they take their work and then they crochet and then they go back and say, what do we do now? Whereas I think I'm much more of a sort of, I am crocheting a little bit and then I'm holding it up to the diagram and going, does that look right? Yes, that, and so on. So I'm just rambling now, but you get the point, right? I really like to be able to see the visual pattern. And I think a lot of people would gain something from being able to read diagrams and being able to work from diagrams, which are two different things. So let me try to explain to you how you can teach yourself how to do that. So I have the diagram here for the pineapple skirt, which I have just shown you, and I just wanted to start by looking at this and trying to explain to you how you could approach reading this. I have two exercises that I want to show you, but before we do that, I think it's important to first, when you see a diagram, look at the different stitches and you ask yourself, do I understand everything that is in here? So basically take this and we go, what is on this page? Well, first of all, there are these bubbles, sort of not finished little bubbles, flat ones. And this is a chain stitch. So normally you would have like a key, or it's a little bit like abbreviations. You sort of, it has the symbol and then it goes, this is a chain stitch. So basically you will look at your key and then you will look back and you will go, that is a chain stitch. And do I know how to do a chain stitch? If you can crochet, probably you do. Then there is another thing here and it looks like this. And in my patterns, this is always a double crochet. In American terms, a double crochet. So this is a double crochet. And then there is a cross, and it could look like this too. It's yeah, it's whatever the designer chooses, and this is a single crochet. Now, this might not help you that much because really you're looking at the pattern and there's a lot of different symbols. They look different anyway. Especially there are a lot of these fans that we've been talking about. So a fan or a shell, I think would be the I'm in a bit of a different culture and for me this is clearly a fan, but I'm okay with people thinking that this clearly is a shell. But it looks like this. It has 4 of these things and then it has a little blob in the middle. So you might be thinking this and that has nothing to do with each other, but really these are double crochets. This is a chain stitch and these are double crochets. So really when you're trying to figure out, can I do this pattern, you're always looking at the smallest part. So if there are something that looks like this, no matter how many crosses after each other, this is always single crochets. no matter how many chains are after each other, they're all chains. This is not suddenly a different thing. This is not suddenly a different thing. But there are certain lessons to be found in the fact that they are joined. So all of these they sort of meet in the same place. I sort of call them their feet. Their feet all sort of planted, or their roots, if you will. They're all sort of planted in the same thing, which is what I'm trying to explain in the diagram. Is all of these stitches are supposed to be worked in the same place. And it's the same if you turn it the other way around. So it could look like this. You might again, oh my god, sorry. You could again think, this is a completely different thing. This has nothing to do with that or with this. But really, these are two chain stitches, and they just share one stitch at the top. So this is 2 double crochet together. So if you know how to read this when you read a written pattern, you will know how to read this, as long as you know that if they are connected in any way, usually it's because they're supposed to either be 2 together or worked in the same stitch. There's a different, or a third version of this, which looks like this often. And this is 2 double crochet together in the same stitch. So, if it looks like it would be, it probably is. Because these symbols come from sort of these stitches. So if it looks like a stitch that you sort of know, it's probably that. Even though these are usually used for bubbles, and of course they look very different. But if you take the stitches and you sort of look at them, they will sort of look like this anyway. So yeah, let's move on to the first exercise. After you've figured out whether or not you know how to do all of the stitches that are in your pattern. Okay, so exercise 1 will be taking the pattern that you found and actually writing it out. So if you have this pattern, which you can get on my blog, you will basically look and you will find at one point it will say 1 or start. And you will look at where that is, and then you will work either this way, because you started here, so you have to work that way, or if there is a 1 at the other side, you will start there, and then you will work the other way around. And also there might be a 1 here, and then a 2 here, and that will tell you that you're supposed to work this way first, and then the other way afterwards, so back and forth. This pattern is written to be circular, which is why all of my rows rounds start from over here. So, first of all, you will have to do the lining. So, row 1, or the first thing, would be 0. We call it 0. Lining. The instructions for that are, again, on the blog, or I also have a video showing how to do that. Row 1, out in front of the 1, you'll look and you'll see how many of the same symbol is there. So first I'll count 1, 2, 3. There are 3. What are they? Okay, so there are these little bubbles, so I can go into my key and sort of say, what does it say that is? Well, okay, that is a chain stitch. So, of course, chain is supposed to be in the front. So here, chain 3. Then I'll go to the next one, and there's only 1 of these. So let's go, comma, 1. And what is that? That is the weird T with the line in it. Again, I would go and I would look at what that means if I can't remember which stitch that is. So this is 1, and it's a double crochet. So again, now I have 1, and the 1 is a bubble. So perhaps I can remember now that that's a chain 1. And then again, there are 2 T's, and I might, if this is really new, This is a little bit like learning Spanish or something. Like it's, or if no, Russian maybe is better because it's like it's different. It's not just a different language; it's different different symbols. So I might go and look again and say, what is that exactly? Well, that was the double crochet. So I've counted, there are 2 of them, and it is a double crochet. Then I have this thing where they're all in the same stitch. So all of this will just be in the same stitch. And you're not going to work from the pattern that you write down. That would defeat the purpose of having the diagram. But this is just to teach yourself to look, to translate, look, translate, look, translate. So I remember to remind myself all of these are in the same stitch. What happens then? Then there are chain 3, because I have 3 and they're the bubbles, so I need a chain in front of that. And then you just move on and you do this for the entire thing if you want to, or you do it until you're fairly confident that you can somewhat remember what the different stitches are and how to translate it into something that will look like a pattern that you know how to work from. So I actually brought another. This is coincidentally a Russian pattern, but it's a diagram, so we don't need to learn Russian. That would be really interesting actually, but I don't think I have the time to actually learn a new language. At some point that would be really cool to be able to speak Russian, but so this pattern, like I said before, you find the 1 and then you figure out how to work it. So here I have a 1, actually I'm always holding this upside down. Here I have a 1 in the middle, and then I have a ring of bubbles with a little thing here. So I might say I have no idea how to work that. Those are definitely 6 chains. So round 1, 6. Chain 6, not 6 chains. And then there's a little thing here, and I might go and look that up and go, okay, this means slip stitch. What am I supposed to slip stitch into? Well, it's placed in between these 2, so probably I am joining in the round, even though that doesn't say that. That is sort of the only available option for me. I have to join in the round because this is a round and that's sort of what it looks like. So if it looks like that is what it is, then it's probably what it is. Now the next round, look at it and there's a lot of X's. And again, X is a single crochet. And I have to count them. So there is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. I have 11 single crochet. And then after that, I have a slip stitch. Again, I have a little black thingy, which is actually, that might be my printer, but they're sort of hollow. It's really confusing. But I have 11 stitches here, and I have a chain of only 6. So I kind of need to work around the chain, probably. So I might give myself a little hint and go around chain. Just to sort of say, these don't match up, and therefore probably they're meaning to say 11 stitches around the beginning chain. And then I could move on and I can do the next one, and the next one is there are 3 bubbles. So I have a chain 3, and then I have another chain. So actually I have a chain 4, because I have 3 up. It looks like this. 3 to begin with, and then I have 1 across. So this is just chain 3 and then a chain 1, so essentially a chain 4. Then I'm moving into something that looks like this. Now I just told you that most people actually use sort of things that look like the stitches. And this, I also told you that this was a single crochet, right? So This might be confusing and you're thinking, are they trying to tell me to make like a large single crochet, or is this their version of a double crochet? What's going on? I'm pretty sure if you look at the pattern that it really looks like double crochets. And therefore, because we want them to be big, we also know that we can't really do that with those single crochets. So this is probably, this and this are probably both double crochet. So really, it's a little bit confusing, but sometimes you have to sort of use the, I think I know what you mean, even though it's the different symbols. So chain 3, and I can see that I have it's a large repeat of the same thing. It's basically been repeated 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 11 times. So 11 times I am going to do a bubble and a T. So, oh no, a T first, so double crochet, and a bubble, so a chain 1. I'm going to do that 11 times. And now, magically, it lines up. I now have 11 stitches to work in, and I have 11 things to do, and there's nothing here that indicates that I should skip any. There's sort of, when you look at them, there is an X, and then on top of it, this is happening. And they're sort of pointing at where they want to be rooted in the previous round. So that should be good, and you can continue working around. It's a little bit more challenging when you move on, but that should be not easy, but it should be a good challenge for you. Now there is when we move on in the pattern, we get a really strange thing, which I have actually already told you how to deal with. It looks like this. So you might think to yourself, this looks like odd. This definitely is a new symbol. And it's really not. They're just double crochets and chains. So we have chain 3. Then we have a double crochet. Then we have a chain 1. Then we have we're always imagining our hook to be at the top here, at the top of our double crochets. So I have my hook here, and I need to do a double crochet here and a double crochet here, and they need to meet at the top. The only way I can do that is to make 2 double crochet together, but they need to have their feet not in the same place. Otherwise, they would usually they would usually have their feet in different places. Otherwise, a 2 together wouldn't make sense. But you make a 2 together, and this one needs to be in the same place as the previous double crochet. Then chain 1, and you do a double crochet with its feet back in the same place as the previous 2 double crochet together, and then we chain 3. So this, I would freak out if I saw this in a pattern and they were trying to explain to me that this was the same place as this, and this was the same place as that. But when you look at it visually, it's really easy to say, okay, I just need something that looks like a W or an upturned M. So I can crochet my thing, and then I can put it towards my diagram and say, does this look like the same thing? And if I'm doing it correctly, it will. So for me, big advantage to this. Let's move on to the second and a little bit more challenging exercise. The other exercise is going to be this. You're going to look at the pattern, and you're going to either say out loud in your head or out loud in the room what you're going to do, and then you're going to do it with your yarn. So get a crochet hook, get some yarn, be prepared for this to not work the first time. I'm just saying, this should not be trying to make something, this should be trying to learn. So, let's look at the pattern. So here I have 6, and they're all chains, and then there is a slip stitch at the end. So let me start by making a knot, and then going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then I need to make a slip knot to join. Now I have I think I actually made this mistake when I showed you on the blackboard, but there is a little tiny indication that there might be a chain here. So to be sure, I'm just going to chain 1. And now I'm going to do nope, I need to first tell myself what I need to do. Chain 1, and then I need to count to 11 first, so 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on. I know there is 11, we already did this. So now I need to do a chain 1 and 11 single crochet, and then I need to slip stitch to join. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11. By the way, this pattern comes from a site which I have forgotten the name of at the moment, but I will link it down below. There are plenty of this type of excellent diagrams. They're very, very clear, and they're very, very professionally made, which makes them easier to follow when you're a beginner. You might find something which is hand drawn, and that's not as good because it will be difficult to see exactly where things are going to go. So I made my 11, and now I just need to slip stitch to join. And I'm looking at the next thing here. So I have 1, 2, 3, and 1 chain. So I'm going to chain 4. Then there is a double crochet, and then there is a chain 1, and then a double crochet and a chain 1, and a double crochet and a chain 1. And I'm going to do that all the way around, and I will need to check if any of these stitches are skipped. It doesn't look like that. It looks like every one of these are pointing at a stitch. So chain 4 to begin with, 3 and 4, and then in the first stitch a double crochet, chain 1, and a double crochet in the next one, and a chain 1, and again, it's a very big advantage if you can just, if this is overwhelming for you to look at the diagram, just make sure you know what to do in the next round, or maybe just the next couple of stitches, rather than trying to figure out what to do with all of it. Just look at the next little part and see how you're going to do that. So here I'm just going around. And chain 1, and let's count. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. And I only counted, unless I counted that one. Alright, so I actually made this in the same stitch that I came out of. Which is clearly not what I'm supposed to do, so I'm just going to do this again. So now I'm back to the point where I was at, and I have made a chain 2, finish. And then I'm just going to, because there's a little tiny thing in here, so you can see that I need to join with a slip stitch. So here we are. Now the next round is going to be one of those things where people don't want to follow diagrams. So let's first go in and say, what do we need to do? Okay, so I joined and I need to slip stitch on to the first chain here. Then I need to chain 3 and then chain 1. Then I need to do 2 double crochet together, a chain 1, and then a double crochet into the same stitch. And this needs to be into the, I need to work in the chain stitch, not in the double crochet. Then I need to chain 3, do a single crochet, chain 3, and then I need to do a double crochet, a chain 1, 2 double crochet together, a chain 1, a double crochet, and then I need to repeat from here. And just do the same all the way around. And I will show you when I've just crocheted it, that how easy it is to actually check whether or not you're doing it correctly. So what did I say? I said chain 4, 3, 4. And then a chain 1, and that needs to be, no, first we need to slip stitch into the first chain space. Here we are. And then I need to chain 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Then a double crochet into the same space, chain 1. Then a double crochet, 2 together, into the same space and into the next space. A chain 1, and then a double crochet into the same space again. So as I said, you can basically take your crochet and you can put it next to your, at least I hope I said that. I meant to, if I didn't. You can put it next to, it's really dark. Here we are. And you can see when you put it next to it that you get the W. So I have a W here and I have a W there. Then there is a chain 3, a single crochet into the next stitch, chain 3, and then I need to basically do the same thing, but with a double crochet to begin with rather than a chain 3 space. I've got the chain. And again, I am getting my little W here. Yep. So that's the same, and then when you move on, you basically just tell yourself what to do, and then you do it. Okay? So it's a little bit more challenging than number 1, but it should be doable. Let's recap the exercises, and then you can go practice. Alright, so to begin with, I told you about looking at the diagram and figuring out whether or not you know all of the terms that are used there. So, do you recognize all of the symbols? Are there some of them that you don't know? Are there maybe some that you need to look up online? And perhaps write them down if you need to. It's always easier. I had a teacher at one point who was sort of adamant that we took notes by hand, because he really thought that it going into the brain and then into the hand would sort of solidify the knowledge. So maybe do that. Then we talked about the first exercise where we do exactly the same. We look at, or the other way around though, but we look at the diagram and then we write out what is this in words or in abbreviations that you can understand. So write down yourself a little nice pattern and then throw that away, because it's only for learning. It's not, if you're trying to learn how to use diagrams, you shouldn't use this as a pattern. You should use the diagram as a pattern, and you should use this exercise to get used to looking at the pattern and getting used to translating it. And lastly, I talked to you about saying it out loud. So looking at the diagram, saying out loud what is in it, and then crocheting it. So if the other thing is in the brain and then in the hand, then this is double in the hand. You get it in the brain, out the mouth, and then in the hands again. If that made any sense, but I hope it did. The last part to this is one that I can't show you, but you will figure it out yourself, I hope, and it is practice. You need to practice this until it makes sense. So it's not easy, and it won't come the first time you sit with it, but it will come at some point. I have confidence in you. I am sure you will get it. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you again next Friday.